Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strawberry Hill Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Simmons. And before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow us on all my platforms. So Instagram, and then I know we're on YouTube, so make sure you follow us. And today we got our neighbor, Sammy Houze, up in the house. Welcome in, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. We work at Fat Matt's, right?
I do.
Bartend. How long have you been doing that for?
Well, we have, my mother and I co-own the bar. Mm-hmm. They, her and my stepfather bought it in 2004. I think I've officially been
2004, 20 years now.
20, long run.
Yeah.
I've officially been co-owner with her, I think since 2016, 17. But, I mean, I pretty much worked there as soon. I'm 39. I'll be 40 this summer. I pretty much worked there, bartended as soon as I turned 21.
Really?
So, it's turned into a career.
So, what was it before you guys bought it? Was it still Fat Matt's?
Yeah, I mean a lot of the old timers, they called the bar the 411. A lot of the bars around here went by their street addresses, 403, 411, things like that. We bought it from Fat Matt was the old longtime previous owner. And then he passed away in the late 90s, and we bought it from his now late wife, Irene. Mm-hmm. So for the first year when we had the bar, we just called the place Irene's. And then we changed it to Fat Matt's. And we stuck the Vortex on the end of there.
So you guys have owned it for almost 20 years. So tell me what it was like, I guess, pretty much growing up, not growing up, but like being in that bar world, and like you've been doing it for 20 years.
It's crazy. It is every time I think I have seen and heard it all, there's something new.
Yeah.
So I learned not to say that anymore. Growing up in that environment, in this neighborhood, it has been the best learning experience that no college or schooling could have provided. I mean, real life, real world people interactions. Like I absolutely love it. And I think it's because of the area and the people.
Mm-hmm. Now, just saying before we got on, you guys have a pretty loyal customer base.
We do.
Yeah, you guys you guys have a lot of the same people that come in, but like it's like you guys are family, because I see you guys doing dinners all the time, and you guys are doing like potlucks over there all the time. And it's really cool to see.
It's very much like Cheers. You got people who sit in their particular seats, they drink the same shit, and people are very regimented and routine in their schedules.
And so, and another thing that a lot of people are starting to know about is that that place is kind of haunted, right?
It is, yeah.
And then it kind of like goes in with our place, because this place used to be connected to there.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the bar used to be a funeral home, and the crematorium where they would incinerate the bodies is in the basement, and it's still down there.
And then do you guys put the kegs down there or something?
We used to have, when we ran lines for our pop and stuff, it used to be downstairs, and I remember going down there to change them, and it's just an eerie fucking feeling.
I would bet, yeah.
Yeah. But we did have some paranormal investigators, like legitimate ones, for the first time come in a couple months ago for a few hours. I stayed with them from like 2 a.m. till 4:30 in the morning.
There ain't no way in the fucking world I would do that.
It was creepy. I mean, I've seen things over the years that I'm a person, I believe what I see, and I've just witnessed and experienced things over the years that I can't explain.
So what you see?
I have 2 of my buddies were playing pool. It's always in the back corner. I'm always hesitant to tell women's this because it's right by the women's restroom, where I get that kind of dark, eerie, just someone is watching you. But a couple of my buddies were playing pool one night right back there by the restrooms, and our side room door to the ice machine, extra liquor, all that stuff, it was propped open with a trash can. And right next to that is the women's restroom door. Same thing, propped open by a trash can. And in succession, just like someone walked through, the storeroom door just slammed shut, moved the trash can, slammed. About 3 seconds later, the women's restroom door slammed shut. And my buddy's playing pool looked at me like, what the fuck? And I just I was working. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, like that's just one of many. I've seen our ice scoopers flying across the bar. Things come off of our stand-up cooler. It's just, music playing out of thin air, cello music. And I got this on my camera. I think I put it on TikTok.
Okay, I didn't know it was like this crazy over there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not frequent, but I've been there long enough that,
Yeah, I mean, 20 years of paranormal activity over there.
Yeah.
Has it just been like that since like you guys had it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit over here. Not so much the crazy stuff that I think the wall prevents them from coming
maybe
over.
a little bit.
No, we'll definitely hear noises all the time over here. And then we'll hear knocking and stuff, and things get moved around. I remember one time we were just like hanging out, and like the picture just fell off the wall for out of just nowhere. It was like okay, but we kind of knew that going in because we knew a little bit about that place over your place. So what was that the craziest thing that happened over there?
Pretty much, yeah. I heard cello music. Me and two regulars. It was like a Saturday at like 10:30 in the morning. So it was just us there. There was baseball on TV, nothing on the jukebox, and we're all just dicking around, looking at our phones. And all of a sudden, we hear this, and my eyes just kind of glance up from my phone. And I'm looking at both of them. They're looking at me like, "Was that you? Is that you? Was that you?" We're looking at the jukebox, and we're like, we heard fucking music. Like, it sounded like old funeral home music. And then it stops, and then about 10 seconds later, it happened at the other end of the bar. So that was probably one of the most eerie things that I have no explanation for.
So what do you do when you hear that kind of stuff? You see that kind of stuff? You just kind of like, all right, it's just part of the bar.
Yeah. I just kind of smile and laugh it off. I've never felt any malicious or ill intent or anything like that. It's just kind of like, here we are, if you're here, I'm here, and we'll just coexist.
That's kind of the same thing I feel. I used to be scared shitless of stuff like that. Like if I heard that or seen that, I'd just run out. Like owning a business now, I can't really just run out. Yeah. So now I'm just like, okay, they're here. They're good spirits. Let's hope. Not bothering me. I'm not bothering them. Like so on. So
absolutely,
you guys got the title of what most haunted bar
in the state of Kansas.
In the state of Kansas, that's pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty wild. Like I don't know how many there are. I'm sure there's a lot, but it's like, oh yeah, we'll take that. Just put us out there.
So who came? Like, what paranormal group was it? Do you know?
I don't know that they have an official title or name. My buddy Jacob, though, him and one of his friends. And they're composing a book. They've been kind of all over the country, cool. Especially the Midwest. So.
And so then it said, like, what, the 10th most haunted bar?
The 10th most place overall that they have experienced.
Jeez.
Like in regards to like activity that they caught. And it was in a short amount of time. So that was pretty interesting.
2 to 4, you said?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then it all just kind of died down around 4:15, 4:30. Like they were like, okay, we're done.
I guess it's because when 2 to 4, you guys are closed. So they're like, all right, time to party. And like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. So that place used to be the funeral home, right?
Yeah.
So was it Skradsky's that was over there?
So. Yeah.
And so, I think because all this whole building used to be connected, which I thought was cool. And do you remember when that building opened?
From my guesstimation and things that I've heard, the very late 1800s or early 1900s.
Okay, cool. So I think it's the same as here.
Yeah. Then it turned into a bar in 34.
So what was it before then?
Before then, it was a kind of like a corner store, pharmacy, then funeral home.
Oh, that's cool.
And then bar. Yeah.
And then along the lines of that, like you being a bartender over there and everything, you're also a sober bartender.
I am. Yeah.
So, and how long have you been sober for? Which is cool. I
mean, thank you. Yeah. God willing, I make it this next week, which I'm pretty confident in at this point, but I will never say never. You got it one day at a time. March 11th will be 12 years.
March 11th, is that on your arm?
Yep, tatted right there. 3/11/12.
So what started that journey for you?
Oh, man. I just a major fucking alcoholic, dude. Terrible alcoholic. I knew from the earliest age that the first time I drank different than everyone else. I go speak a lot at the rehab that I went to, Atchison Valley Hope, and I always tell them, it's like, I don't know why I'm an addict or alcoholic. Is it a choice or a disease? And it's like, I don't fucking know. All I know is that I have it. And when I had alcohol, that did to me what crack does to a crackhead,
Yeah.
pill to a pill popper, whatever your drug of choice is, alcohol did that to me. And because alcohol is so, socially accepted and it's everywhere, it was easy for me to hide for a long time. Like everyone knew I drink a lot and shit, but it progressed fast. Especially working in the bar, being young in my early 20s, it was easy to hide.
You're there around it all the time.
Yeah.
And then people are constantly, hey, you want a shot? Want a drink?
Exactly.
Yeah,
then I crossed that line to where it's like, okay, this is a necessity now. Like I need this to function, to go to the fucking gas station, get groceries, to do a family function or a holiday. I had to be intoxicated to some high degree.
So how long was that? Like, how long was your life like that for?
Shit, many years, man. I think I smoked weed at the age of 12 for the first time. I actually smoked weed before I drank alcohol. And like smoking weed, it was cool. It did what it did. But I drank at the same age at 12, and I just remember that I absolutely loved it. And from that point forward, I drank really as many opportunities as I could. So, I mean, but it really got harder as I went through high school. Then after that, and it just compounded
But
fast.
it didn't help that 21, now you're legal and now you're working
Exactly.
in the bar.
Yeah, and it just problems started happening, all the turmoil, and it turned dark very fast.
So you got to go into that darkness, man. What was that like?
Man, it's a tough spot to be in. I got one DUI at age 22. I got a minor in possession of alcohol in high school. And we always chalked it up to like, no big deal, man. People get in trouble, shit happens. And I always said the right shit to make people and family members believe me, like, okay, I'll be better. I'm not going to do that again. I'm sorry. All the talk. And then, got my first out of 4 DUIs at age 22.
First out of 4?
First out of 4, yeah. And then getting in trouble costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I started looking, I think in 2009 or 10, I got my second, third, and fourth DUI within a 6-month span, and 2 in 2 days in different counties.
Jeez.
So, like, it was, every time I fucked up or got in trouble, I would drink. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I drink, I get annihilated, I fuck up, problems ensue, and then I drink and get fucked up to get over the shit that just happened when alcohol caused that in the first place. Insanity is what you call it. And depression. I've dealt with anxiety and depression, I realized, from like some of my earliest ages and memories. And I realized when I drank alcohol, the depression went away. The anxiety went away. I felt socially accepted. I felt free. But that was only temporary. It's like sticking a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. It's like, so when I started coming down off alcohol, that depression just came in hella hard. That anxiety, especially socially, not want to leave my house or nothing, it just grew and grew. And then that builds up your alcohol tolerance. So then you need more.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it was nuts. I just sit in my room depressed some days, like, what the fuck? Why am I here? What am I doing? Why can I not control this? Being in your darkest moments, just holding the gun to your head, like, just pull the trigger, man. And thank God that I just couldn't do it. So maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like the thought of suicide was very real for me for many years.
Yeah, I mean, you're feeling that depressed for that long.
It's a fucked up place to be in.
Yeah, only thing that's, solving the issue to you is just drinking more.
Yeah.
Just hurting you more.
Yeah, exactly.
So what made you go to rehab?
Oh, man. That, I had, prior to that, this was a ploy really to just get people off my ass. I told my family I would try AA meetings. So I would go to AA meetings and I would go fucking wasted. Like, I would go to the liquor store, mix, pints of McCormick 100 proof and a Gatorade. Like, yeah, we were going hard at that point. So I would go drunk and listen in AA, hear all these old men tell all these horror stories, tragic stories about their drinking and drug use. And I'm like, man, these guys are bad. I'm not that bad. I'm the one sitting there fucking wasted in an AA meeting. It's like, bro, I need help. But again, it was, I didn't really want the help at the time. And another time I tried intensive outpatient, you know, again, just to let people put on the facade and image that I was addressing my own issue. When in all reality, I didn't want to stop. If anything, I wanted to learn how to manage my drinking. For an addict, alcoholic, there is no just a few or something like that. It's just balls out. So after all my DUIs and other bullshit too, I got in some other trouble also. After all that kind of came to a head, and I'm looking at possible like real jail time now. And I'm like, you know, 4 DUIs is a felony, 3 is a felony. So it's like, oh fuck, I might actually go to prison over this. Yeah. Like the ramifications were real now. You know, I'm losing my license, lost my license for 3 years. I was running out of money. I was paying lawyers. It's like I couldn't work in the bar anymore. I tried to get regular jobs, and I would either quit or get fired from pointing out, from being drunk and not going to work. Yeah. So it's like I just lost everything. And then that suicide notion really came into play. And someone had taken a leap of faith on me, and I ended up getting a job at the Hilton Garden Inn right up here on Minnesota Avenue. Really? Yeah. And I had got drunk the night before, and I was living with my parents at the time, and my mother had just had foot surgery, and I was about to miss work, and I couldn't do that. So I gave her, what do they call it, crocodile tears, and it was like, I said everything I could for her to give me the keys to her car, because I couldn't drive. I didn't have a vehicle at that time. Yeah. I said, please, you know, I can't lose this job. I need to make it to work. I'll be good. And she cried almost as if she knew that I was like a fucking liar. Yeah. And she gave me the keys to her car so I could go to work. And as soon as I got those keys, I knew I was going to the liquor store. So I go to the liquor store, and I got like a liter of vodka or something like that. I pounded the whole thing like in the fucking car. And I decided it was still a good idea to try to go to work. So I drive, and I make it to the Hilton Garden Inn, and they were living in Shawnee, Kansas at the time. I mean, that was a 20-minute drive. So I get to the Hilton Garden Inn, and this is all kind of blotchy because I was so fucking wasted. Like, I have legit memory issues to this day from concussions, head trauma, and alcoholism. Like, it's a real thing. But I end up going to work, and I have what I believe to be some sort of panic attack. Like, freaked the fuck out, lost my shit. I go to the storeroom of the Hilton Garden Inn.
It's your first day?
No, I'd been there a few days. Okay. But I go to the storeroom, and I call my mom, and I say something along the lines of, like, I'm fucking done. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm going to kill myself. I love you. Click. And her just having a foot surgery, being, you know, stuck to her bed, I can't imagine to this day the feelings of hopelessness and panic and helplessness that she may have felt that was the last time talking to her son. Like, fucking crazy. So I leave the Hilton, and I drove down to a house that we had owned, which I had previously lived in, but ended up moving out. They were going to sell it, so it was vacant, but I still had access to it. So it's right down here on Orchard Street, actually. So I go there, and, you know, thankfully there's nothing there. I didn't have any weapons on me or whatever. All I could find was like a dull fucking knife. So I stand in the bathtub, man, and I just grabbed the knife and boom, right in my wrist. It hurt like fuck. Like, I was so drunk. I was so drunk. I was like, it's probably not going to hurt that bad. Hurt like hell. And it was like, oh shit, man, you did it. Like, you acted on it, you know? And like I said, I don't think, you know, in my heart of hearts, I didn't really want to die or kill myself. It was me expressing, I think, a point of like, this is where the fuck I am at right now. So firefighters come in and, you know, restrain me, wrap up my hand, and they took me to Rainbow Mental Health Facility. Have you heard of that place? It's fucking wild. It's like the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson.
That's a good description.
It is very much like that.
Like over there.
Like long-term chronically mental patients are in there. like people screaming their heads off, like, and they let these guys walk around with like hot coffee and shit. And like, I'm seeing people with black eyes, like girls cutting their own hair off. I'm like, oh fuck. So I never forget, like, I was like, I know what I did was crazy, but I'm not crazy. Once I was sobering up, I was like, you need to let me the fuck out of here. They were like, honey, if you in here, you crazy. It's like, oh shit. Like, you fucked up now.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, let me sign myself out. And I'm like, you can't. You're here on like police authority now. It's like, fuck. I guess I didn't take phone calls for the first 2 days from anyone or my family, but by day 3, I was like, I need to get out of here. You know, no alcohol in my system. I was like, I'm ready to fucking go. So the one condition that they let me out of there was that I go that weekend to a 30-day inpatient facility, which happened to be Valley Hope in Atchison. So at that point, a lot of people go to rehab kind of reluctantly. After my experience I just had, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. And that I went there back in the summer of 2010. So, I mean, my sobriety date, it's March of 2012. So, I mean, relapse is part of my story.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get the shit right off the bat. But going there for 30 days was a definitive turning point and foundation for myself and my whole recovery process. Yeah.
So that's another cool thing you said, because it kind of tells people like it's really hard to keep fighting, because you said you relapse, which is normal. Like, and people just gotta. I think it's cool for you to admit that. So you went 2010, you went to rehab, then you didn't really finally get sober to 2012.
Yeah.
So how many times did you relapse, or was it just like you were just back drinking again?
It was many, man, many. It is a lot of stress on a person. Like, life is hard enough for people who don't suffer from that type of addiction and haven't lost fucking everything.
Yeah.
Like, so you're trying to find employment. I had a shit ton of fines to pay off. I couldn't drive, like, no job. It's like you're doing all this shit and got to go to meetings and find a sponsor and work the steps. And it's just so much pressure. It's like being born again, except for you're a grown human.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, where do I even start? I tell people often, it's like waking up from a nightmare where everything was destroyed, and you're like, everything, like, where do I even start? Like picking up the pieces. And the key is to just fucking start.
Yeah. Start somewhere.
Pick one up. Maybe that might be 1 day, 1 minute, 1 second, one action. And then do it again.
Yeah.
And do it again. So I did good for a few months. I was in a relationship early in my recovery, and it's not a good idea because I was not mentally, spiritually, any sort of maturity. I was not enough to be in that sort of dynamic or relationship with another individual. You can only give to someone that of which you have yourself. If I'm 25%, 50%, that's all I can fucking give someone else. But she breaks up with me. I got pissed. I got wasted. She's in recovery too. She stayed clean. I was sitting there. As soon as I let that situation, person, place, thing dictate my behavior and drink because of it, I gave all of that power over me.
Yeah.
Which is undeserving. So that was a learning experience right there. The second I drank and gave that whole fuck you, you know, it's like, no, fuck me. I just sabotaged myself over that. And so that was a learning experience to respond instead of just react, you know, impulse control. So I get back on the wagon, start going to meetings, doing the steps, go to work. I was working like a few different jobs then, finding rides. You know, I would run 4.5 miles to work at a call center to get bitched at about credit card bills and late fees. Like, I would run physically because I didn't want to ask people for rides. And, you know, it was pride. Pride is a motherfucker. And until one day, one of the biggest lessons in my life, I was running 4 miles to work, and I'm about 1 block away from work when a coworker pulls up to me, kind of a nerdy little older guy, like, man, nothing in common. But he pulls up to me while I'm jogging, and he's smiling. He says, "Hey, you want a ride?" And I look at him, I'm like, "Yeah." And me accepting that man's help right there, to him, he's a block away from work. It may not have meant a fucking thing. He probably don't even remember. But to me, that has lasted until this day.
Mm-hmm. Someone
offering help and more importantly for me at the time, accepting that help. So giving back, that's a huge thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got sidetracked there. So anyways, I get a few more months and then recovery and all the work, it starts getting boring, redundant. I'm like, maybe I had one bad thought creep in that said, maybe you can just drink a little bit. Maybe you can have one. So I tried it. Mm-hmm. And that lasted about 5 fucking minutes till I picked up right where I had left off.
Yeah.
Except for it's even harder now. And I told myself, man, I fucking promised myself, like I would only have this many. I would try to control it and this and that. And it just didn't fucking work. I was like, I cannot have alcohol in any fucking form. Mm-hmm. I can't have a sip of NyQuil. Like I just can't because it will lead to
destruction.
Balls to the wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, the final day of me not drinking on March 11, 2012, it wasn't as climactic as, suicide. It was literally just me waking up one day and say, things got really bad, but you're picking up the pieces and you've been fucking up. You know what to do. You have the tools to do it. I'm just sick of this shit and ready to put in the work. Mm-hmm. And I just made that decision. And I came clean with family, some coworkers of mine who I trusted, and was like, hey, this is where I'm at, and I appreciate your support, and this is what I'm going to do about it. Mm-hmm. So I stuck a sticky note that said the number 1 on my fridge that morning, and here we are today. It's crazy.
How many days? You keep track?
I got a tracker on my phone. It's thousands of days. Man. Yeah, man. It's cool. I'm proud of it. Sometimes I kind of downplay it, but I'm pretty proud of it.
That's a cool story. Because, a lot of people can't do what you did.
Yeah.
And then you also probably bring a lot of hope to people that are in that, struggle right now.
Man, I try.
Yeah. So tell me what your journey's been since 3/11/12.
Since 3/11/12, life has done. I couldn't imagine being where I'm at right now, sitting with you today, having this conversation. Can't fucking imagine it. It's crazy. I mean, over the course of this time, I've been able to gain my family's trust. Biggest thing in the world. Help them whenever necessary. I started working. I was about a year sober, I think, when my mom and I had a conversation, and she let me fill in a shift at the bar. Mm-hmm. That was probably fear gut-wrenching for her after all the times I fucked that trust up.
Hey, here's a bar full of alcohol.
Yeah, here you go, alcoholic. Let's give this a shot. But it was just some sort of unspoken trust thing that we had in each other, like, I'm at a good place now. I think I can do that. And I believe you have to push yourself and your limits. I don't tell... If I'm talking to random people about, recovery or something, I don't disclose, I'm a bartender, because I don't want them to be over ambitious. What works for me might not work for someone else in that scenario. Mm-hmm. But then I started working in part-time, then full-time, then kind of doing liquor orders and inventories and kind of, I guess, some sort of manager for her. And then co-owner with her to now I've really grown in that aspect. And it took me 3 years without a license, getting rides and thousands of dollars in fines. Yeah. Like I remember I'd get paid every Friday, and after paying off all my bills, fines and shit like that, I had $40 to last me a week. And I was smoking cigarettes at the time. It's like, fuck. It's like, how do you do it? It's just like, here's what you got. Make it work. Mm-hmm. And I saved up a few $100. You thought I was the richest guy in the world, man. And then I get the material things back, but you can't put a price on things like trust and time with loved ones and just things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And now I find myself, running the bar next to you guys, which is cool. I'm married now. And we live in a nice place, and we just had our first child together.
Yeah.
First and
awesome.
only. There's not going to be no more. And it's just, I look at my life today and it's fucking cool, man.
I can't imagine like where you would be at if you were on the other side of the
Yeah.
coin.
Yeah. There's no telling. It's just, it's crazy.
So tell me what it's like now when, new kiddo, being married.
Yeah.
I've got 2, so I get it.
Yeah. I mean, she's coming up on only 3 weeks old, so she is fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh. Her name is Phoenix Houze. We dug that name. I got a big phoenix tattoo on my chest right there, kind of, and I got that early in my recovery for kind of rebirth, new life, and it's cool. It's like the problems that I used to have back in the day in active addiction and stuff are now like changing diapers and like buying shit and like making time and accommodating and all good problems to have. Now, if I'm tired nowadays or if I think I'm having a bad day, I'm like, no, dude, this is heaven right here.
I always tell people it's not like having a kid fixes things, but it definitely puts a new perspective on life once you have something that's your own.
That whole experience, it unlocks a part of my heart, mind, and universe that I had no fucking idea was there.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's like once you have a kid, you're just like, I would do anything for that kid. I would give my life for that kid. And you're like, I never felt that until you have your own kid. Just like, I would literally die for this kid.
Yeah. It's crazy. I in a second, in a heartbeat. And like before that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to be a dad and that. And it's like, I think I know. It's like I'm around kids and but then it's like, okay, no. This is
something different.
I am a big pussy right now.
No, it's like everybody else. Just people just hide it. You're just open about it, and I am too. Yeah. So you had a kid 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was wild.
Yeah. And so you just got married.
Yeah.
And
this past summer.
Yeah. And then so I'm just like highlighting all your stuff because like it's been good life. Since you've been sober, which is good, man. I'm happy.
Thanks, man.
You guys do family dinners every Thursday. You guys are like tradition.
We try to. We started that probably about 4 years ago. And now, new timing with everyone, it's crazy. So now it's like once or twice a month. But like we try to make it a point. Like the group of us will go to dinner every Thursday night. We'll take turns picking who picks, who buys, and this and that. But we try to make that a point, to put that family time first.
What's been your favorite place so far? You guys go somewhere different all the time.
That's tough. Some of my favorites that I like, I got to give a shout out to Tavern in the Village in Prairie Village. My friend, Chef Jen LeBlanc, is the executive chef there. It's fucking awesome. Every single time we go there, it's amazing. My buddy Vince Paredes owns the Farmhouse.
Been to Farmhouse.
Yeah.
Farmhouse is good.
If he's listening or hears this, I'm waiting for him to open back up for dinner hours. Because right now they're just doing brunch. But I'm like, man, I need dinner. Like, those are two of my favorites, like, easily.
So, we're getting close to being done. Tell me, I guess, what would you, if you could look back in time, like let's say before you hit your recovery date, what would you tell yourself? Like,
oh fuck, man.
Yeah, like say like when you are down deep in the shit, because this also goes with the line of telling somebody that's also in the same place that you were.
When I'm speaking, I usually try to conclude with the 2 sentences. Like, 2 of the most important things I could tell anyone is I'm proud of you. Well, 3 things. I'm proud of you, I love you, and I believe in you. It's like sometimes people just need to hear that, no matter what they are or where they're at in life. It's like you can accomplish anything. You just gotta want it, man.
And it's also cool is that I feel like your mom played a huge part in your recovery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have the greatest support system anyone could ever ask for. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have that. So, I mean, I try not to judge anyone because you really have no fucking clue what people are going through.
Yeah, you have no clue what they're going through and no clue what part of life they're going through.
Yeah.
Like, they could be going to the deepest, darkest shit and you don't know about it. A lot of people wear masks, and a lot of people wear masks very well. I mean, I did it for years too, but when I was at the sheriff's office. Yeah. It's a motherfucker. You get it's exhausting.
It is,
It's exhausting.
I tried to hide mine, and then it just got to a point where the mask melted, and it's like, here it is.
And then forgot to ask, tattoos. Did you have all these tattoos before you started drinking, or you just like, fuck it, I'm going to go all out?
I had a few tattoos. I guess you could say I kind of traded addictions in a sense.
Hey,
it's like
I love it.
Once I started, being able to save some money and this and that, it would be a way for me to treat myself. And I'm artistically challenged. Like, I'm stupid with it. So I give my buddy Chris just an idea, and I'm like, man, just draw it up and we'll just see what happens.
I got to finish my sleeve, so I might hit your buddy up.
I got an appointment with him Thursday, actually. I'm getting my kid's footprints on the side of my leg right there, like her baby prints with her name and date.
Awesome.
So that'll be my first one on the legs, and then next thing you know, they're going to be covered up too, probably.
Yeah, probably. Hey, I would rather you be addicted to ink than alcohol.
Yeah, me too.
So tell me, what's your like 5-10 year goals?
Shit, man, it's hard. It's really hard for me to make long-term goals.
Or I guess even just because you said like kind of one day at a time.
Yeah.
Which is awesome to think about. I guess tell me what's your 1 day goal? What's your year goal? Anything?
Oh man, that is hard. People get frustrated with me because it's hard for me to make plans like a month from now.
Well, that's fine.
So, I guess the ultimate, like the nearest goal would just be, I mean, my main focus right now is just my little girl, our kid is just making sure she's happy, healthy, and growing good in this early stage of her life. I guess just being present, being there for people. I don't have a real, things are going good.
Yeah.
I just want
to be a good dad. Keep being sober.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Live day by day.
I guess, my goal is today.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's awesome, man.
Hey.
And then, so before we end, tell people about Fat Matt's, and tell them what it's all about and why they need to come and see ya.
Fat Matt's. You should come down. You should come check out the Strawberry Hill area in general. I mean, Mike and Dave have been my neighbors here for a year now. You guys just had your 1 year party.
Flown by.
And this place is fucking beautiful.
Thank you, man.
And every little area, our bar, the shop, the other bars in the area, they all got their own feel and niche and vibe. And it's just cool. There's no hate. It's all love for one another. If you like my spot, cool, come down. We are cash only. We got an ATM, but I mean, there's always good people, good times. We welcome everybody. One thing about my place I like is the diversity. Yeah. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, old, gay, straight, young, it don't fucking matter. But everyone, if you walk in that door, man, you're going to be welcome with smiles. And that's what it's all about.
That's one thing I love about the Hill. It's like, especially with the owners, the business owners, stuff like everybody just gets along. Everybody likes each other. Everybody hangs out with each other. It's all good down here. That's what it's so special down here. And that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to be down here, because like I had options to go over the places, and I'm from Wyandotte County. I was like, man, I really want to be in Strawberry Hill.
I'm glad you picked here.
Yeah, it's just I just love it down here.
Yeah,
like it's just like it's like my second family down here.
It is. Yeah. It most definitely is. I've met so many people over the years down here. I've seen relationships end. I've seen lives end. I've seen lives begin. People get together, get married. Like I've seen the whole cycle of life with people down here who have genuinely become part of my life and heart.
That's cool. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you inviting me.
Of course,
I've never done a podcast. I've talked to hundreds of times. I've never like this though.
Oh, you guys also got to check out Sober Bartender. You got to tell people about that before we end.
A couple years back, I made a page on Facebook called The Sober Bartender. And it was really just a way for me to just every single day, I try to post something that just might motivate you, inspire you, give you some hope, anything that might make you just think or contemplate things in life or change your perspective. Then every now and then I'll incorporate some of my own personal histories or stories in there from the past or whatever I might be going through currently, just to give people some hope.
Awesome, man.
Thanks.
Like I said, appreciate you, man.
Oh, man,
It's
I
always been a
appreciate
good
you.
time.
It was fun.
And then being neighbors is also fun, too.
It's cool.
Yeah, I like it. We got a good little relationship. We're going to keep it going. Hopefully,
Definitely.
another 20, 30 years.
We're 20
60
in,
years
20
old
more.
or 70, whatever. I can't do math
Yeah,
right now.
maybe I'll be smoking cigars by then.
We'll get you to smoke one.
Okay. I'll try one someday.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check us out, Strawberry Hill Podcast. And then if you haven't came to visit us or Fat Mats, please do. Shop Cigar Lounge, Fat Mats, we're right next door to each other. Come see us, come check us out, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye, everybody.